And as is the tradition, it freezes right at that point there. Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back. It's Friday always seems such a long way off when you wake up on a kind of slightly hungover Monday morning. And then you just get your head down and crack on, and suddenly it's here again. Cheers, everyone. It's Friday, and we're on the beer. Good health. Yes. I want to say a massive thank you to all of the messages of support I got for my IT meltdown that I had this week. I think I've got everything ready to be fixed now, but it's not quite there yet. I haven't had the time to sit down and set up a new PC. Oh, Paul Trainer, that's very generous of you, sir. Thank you so much. Much obliged. Because if I don't have a full day to sit down and kind of install everything, because you know what it's like. Where are the drivers for this? What have I done with the license key for that? Etc. Etc. Then if I don't leave a full day for it, then I'm going to feel a little bit pressure on time. And if you are one of those people who can unbox a new PC and set it all up and be up and running within an hour, then yeah, I hate you. Anyway, let's have a look and see who we've got in. Who was Teacher's Pet first one through the door tonight? I see it was Terry Day. Then Dave Fiendish, Mark Colonel, Rent to Kill, Peter Nicholson, PFY Guitars, Johnny Random, Sean House, Malcolm Thompson's in. So is Rubbish Guitar Bloke, Grandpa Joe. As always, wishing us well from New York City. Then we got Steve Entwistle, David James, Gordo Cannock, Jeff Ward, Dr. Gomez 1, Peter Collins. There's Theme Tunes and Vincent Brennan's. Saying, Theme Tunes is saying, how do we get to the community tab to vote in the poll? If you go to my channel, like my sort of homepage on YouTube, you'll see there's kind of, like a homepage, and then there's a tab that says videos, live, and, one or two other bits and pieces. But one of those is the community tab. There is a clear winner in that poll, by the way, which I shall be revealing later today. Sorry I couldn't put everybody's suggestion up, by the way, because I was going to put them all up, but I got the first 5 up, and then, you run out of options to add another kind of option to the poll, basically, so it only allows you to do 5, I think. Anyway. I said, we've got, let's have a look. All Theme Tunes, you've got it, you voted. Vincent Brennan is in, so is Mickey Walnuts, Joe McMurray, Ian Clark, Danny Hancock. And who else we got? We've got Anton, John Ross, Ben Allmark, Stuart Young. We got Cylon Hybrid. And scrolling down, I can see we've got Timbo. And let's have a look further down. Who else? 60s Man is in. And so is Savvy64. There's David Evans. And let's have a look. Ian Rouse is in. So is Gary Shaw. How are you, mate? There's Stephen Hedges, Chris Ottewell, and John Mack. And we got Far John in there, Blue Sofa Songs, who's had another day off. Happy Friday. Yes, it's been a particularly happy Friday for me today. I'll tell you all about that later. There's Bill Mumbo, John Channing, Mr. Chris 5254. Deco Dude is in. So is Jimmy James, I'm a 640. Ivor is in. David Mitchell is there as well. So is Robert Galbraith, Colin Falcon. How are you, mate? Cy Rollinson, Ian Mason. Nathan is in. So is Triple Distilled. And scrolling down a bit further, I see we've got Peter S., David Collins, Brad Dowell, Pablo Hank. Nice to see you, mate. There's Steve Muskie, Cal Texper, Neil Roberts, Calby and the Rocco Cat, and we got Martin Bix. We've got Sometimes Dim Never Thin, and let's have a look. We've got James Hunt, all the way from chilly Dagenham. Yeah, it's been a bit, as my old fella used to say, my old fella used to have a lot of sayings that you kind of knew what they meant, but you didn't know why you knew. And he always used to say on a cold day, he says, hey, lad, I tell you what, it's a bit thin out there. Yeah, you know what you're getting at, but you're not quite sure how you got there. It's been like that in Redcar today anyway. Then we've got Graham Reeves, Paul Trainer, and we've got anyone else? Daniel Scott and Steve Cassidy guitar. Don't forget, Steve's. Are you doing a live this week, or is it like a pre-present? Oh, it'll be a Birmingham Guitar Show video, won't it? At 6. Go and check out Steve's channel at 6. I'll be watching it later after curry, basically. Then I see who else have we got? We've got Pulsar and William Forrest and Randy Upchurch and anyone else. Anthony McManus and Alan Hoole, Jay Aoyong, Paul Heath is in. So. And let me just figure out how I'm going to pronounce this. Suffolk Suffolk and Watt UK. I hope I got the pronunciation of that right, but it was a bit of a challenge for me on a Friday, and that's before I've had a beer. Yes. I'll tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, but usually, well, for the past 3 months, basically, every video I put up and every live stream, there's always been somebody saying, "How's your finger, John?" Well, I'm happy to report that the dressing is off. That little button thing that was attached to the end, that's gone. I was at the hospital this morning to see the surgeon. And well, it wasn't the surgeon who did it. It was somebody deputising for the surgeon that did it. And and he was a guitarist, so naturally I gave him a business card, as you do. Never miss an opportunity and all that. And that basically it looks pretty normal, and for everyday life, kind of knife and fork or typing or doing up buttons or that kind of thing, it is as good as new. But it's when you get it into guitar playing position that it just doesn't want to cooperate. But I found these little things on Amazon. Okay, little finger splints, and they're supposed to be worn like this to sort of keep your fingers straight. If you see, let me just kind of hold that up there. Can you see that? Supposed to be worn like that to keep the fingers straight. But I reckon if I wear it backwards, and I might have to go up a size. Yes, not built for a man of my girth. There's a feeling that feels familiar. But I reckon if I wear it like that the other way around, and maybe show it a little bit of persuasion from a heat gun, it can sort of persuade my finger into more of a playing friendly position. If it does, all to the good. If it doesn't, it's not something I'm going to lose any sleep about, because as you've been seeing recently, I'm sort of doing all right on 3 fingers. It's one less finger to make a mistake with in many ways. So that is the state of play with my finger. I've got one more physiotherapy appointment to go to and one more telephone appointment with the surgeon in a couple of weeks' time, and then that's it. That's how it's going to be then is how it's always going to be forevermore. And you know what? It's, as I say, I'm coping, so it's just one of those unfortunate things that you have to get around. What's life without a challenge, anyway? I see we've got a few others in. We've got Theory Wave Nights. Let's have a look. And we've got Budget Pedal Chap as well. So let's tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. The inevitable showdown between this guitar, the modded Jet, and the Harley Benton Fusion T. And I was hoping to keep you in suspense about which one of those was going to kind of win the shootout, but you already know, because Craig Stamen let the cat out the bag a couple of weeks ago in the chat on here, because he let the cat out the bag that he bought the Harley Benton off me, and he's loving it apparently. You remember Craig, the guy with the 8-string Strandberg, and the ridiculous alternate picking chops. Yeah, he bought that Harley Benton off me and said as much on the live stream a couple of weeks ago. So, so spoiler alert, the Jet wins the shootout. But if you want to know why, you'll have to watch the video on Sunday. Then on Monday, it is, as usual, a solo analysis. And I was asked a couple of weeks ago for some more Thin Lizzy stuff. So that's what we're looking at on Monday. So can you think of a Thin Lizzy song where the studio version doesn't have a solo, but the live version does? That is the solo we're looking at on Monday. Then Tuesday, a kind of video that I haven't really done much of in recent months, but recent years. A little bit of consumer advice, really. I used to do these kind of videos all the time, but they sort of wore out their welcome a little bit. But I've had a few inquiries of late for what's the best beginner electric guitar for under £100. So I'm going to give you 5 of my choices on Tuesday. Then Wednesday is, as you know, viewers' questions, and it's not one that I would have. This isn't a topic that I would have ever thought to cover when just off my own bat. So this proves the value really of these viewers' questions. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer, pop them on a postcard or do the modern equivalent and email me jrguitartuition@gmail.com, or you can go on my website, my newfangled, upgraded, kind of more shall we say less 2005 looking website at johnrobsonmusic.co.uk. Just pop on there. All the pages now pretty much have an email form on them, so you can just send me a message that way. And one chap who got in touch was asking about, that transition, if you're a kind of beginner or you've not been playing long, that transition from playing acoustic guitar to electric guitar. What adjustments and what do you need to expect? Oh, I see somebody's, at least one person's got, no, not Rosalie, anyone else? There's a few right answers here. And I think we're talking about I think the first person through the door with the correct answer might just have been Derek Clacton there with Jailbreak. Yes, it's the Brian Robertson wah-drenched solo from the Live and Dangerous version of Jailbreak. But yeah, Wednesday's video is all about what kind of what adjustments and and how you have to adapt if you're going from an acoustic guitar to electric guitar. Then on Thursday, a company with a name that I struggle to pronounce because it's just a collection of it's just a connection of consonants rather. FRTLZR or something like that is the name of the company. They make a brand new to market fret polishing system, and they sent me one to review. And if you want to know what I think about it, then you'll have to watch Thursday's video. So just to summarise, Sunday is Jet versus Harley Benton. Monday is Jailbreak. Tuesday is my 5 picks for sub £100 beginner electric guitars. Wednesday is how to move from an acoustic guitar to an electric. And Thursday is a review of a fret polishing system. And then after Thursday, we're at Friday again, and this is what it's all about. Anyway, cheers. Oh, dear me, that's good. Right, let's have a little bit of a look back through the chat, have a scroll up and see, what you've been talking about while I've been blethering. Top 5 managers. That's probably more of a directed to a football fan, isn't it? Really, and I'm not a football fan. It's 22 millionaires ruining a lawn, as far as I'm concerned. If they were playing out there, I'd shut the curtains. Dale Davis, you're saying, recently bought me a new PRS SE McCartney 594, my favourite guitar. Just wishing PRS would make SE versions of the NF53. It'll be there, mate. It'll come. You know, they always do that. You know, they're doing an SE version of the Swamp Ash Special now, which is a guitar I've never played, but I've been interested in. And they're also doing an SE version of the CE. The PRS that I'm gassing for at the moment, though, is the Gold Top SE Dave Grissom model, because it's got like the dot inlays on. Are they dots or moons? And you know, that sort of gold top finish. It looks really spectacular. And they're also starting to do some of the SE ones with a satin finish. My thing is, I just wish they would do more of the SE range without the birds, because, you know, I thought I was unique and alone in not being a fan of those bird inlays on the neck. But the more I've spoken about it on YouTube, it seems like the comment section or the chat or wherever I'm speaking about it is always full of, you know, people saying, yeah, I don't like them either. You know, we shall see. I've just got rid of a PRS anyway. I've got rid of the S2 standard 24. Difficult decision to make, but I, as you know, because of the finger situation, I had like a month or so off from playing, and then when I came back to it, that guitar was the one I was looking forward to the most, and it just wasn't as nice as I remembered. So, you know, or Ian Mason saying birds are great. Well, each to their own, mate. I just find them a little bit ostentatious looking. What we're saying here, Raymondo Galfredi, thank you for the super chat, by the way. Is this the consumer advice hotline? I would like to know if the Squier Affinity is any use. They're not bad guitars, mate. They're really not. I just think that there are better guitars for the money. You know, some of the, like, if you're looking at, I'm assuming you're talking about a Squier Affinity Strat. If you want a Squier, a Strat style guitar for somewhere between £100 and £200, then, you know, I think you've got better options, better spec options than the Affinity. The Jet JS300 springs to mind. You know, bone nut and a roasted maple neck at about 150 quid. That was a guitar that I reviewed it back end of last year or early this year, and you know, really quite enjoyed it for a Strat, but I'm just not a Strat guy. But I was impressed with the build quality. I was impressed with the tuning stability of the trem, which isn't something that you can really say about, you know, sub £200 guitars all that often. And even the cheapo ceramic pickups sound, you know, they turned out a good performance of themselves. There's probably, if you search my channel, you'll probably find my review of it somewhere. It almost was a keeper. It was almost, yeah, well, I'll hang on to this because it costs pennies, and, you know, there's always a time when I'll need a Strat. But then again, you see, if I lean that way, you can see there's a lovely Nashville Telecaster on the wall back there. And when I want Strat tones, that's what I tend to usually pick up. So, you know, in the end, I sold it to a student. Jay Ao Young is saying, wonder why the PRS is no longer suitable for an injured hand, but a Telly is 9.5-inch radius. I don't. I think, aren't PRS a 10-inch radius? I think they are, aren't they? I might be. I think I might be wrong. Correct me if I am, but I think I've read that somewhere and heard it many times. No, it was just everything just felt a little bit cramped on it. Let me show you what I mean. If I pick up this wonderful Jet guitar here, I've had to rethink how I play a lot of my chords. Like, for instance, a C chord, right? Normally that finger would go there, and it kind of will, but it's catching on the string underneath. So I play the C chord with the little finger there now, like that, and, you know, and it works. And just on the PRS, just having to kind of squeeze things in like that a little bit, it just for some reason felt a little bit, oh, this feels a bit sort of tight. You know, I can just about get this finger onto like a bar chord like that, so I'm okay for that, you know. And perversely, it's all those kind of things where I've had to do the most, sort of workarounds, all the kind of twiddly stuff like that. It's that's no problem, by and large. One or two adaptations, and there's one or two licks that may be consigned to the pages of history. But there's other licks that I can use to, replace them with. Stephen Hedger, what you saying there, mate? I sent my gold top DGT back to Anderton's. I was really disappointed as it didn't live up to all the hype. No false, just not as good as my old SE24 standard. Well, that's interesting. I definitely want to get my hands on one and try one, though. Ian Clark's saying, where's that gone to? I just saw a comment from Ian Clark. Oh, birds on my SE24 look cheap. CH. I'm going to put that up on screen. Yes, yes, thank you very much. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Steve Cassidy's confirming what I thought. Yeah, PRS is 10-inch. Apart from like the old school fender radius of 7.25 inch radius, I don't tend to kind of mind. I don't like that. It just feels odd, and if it's set up okay, you can. The big myth is that you can't bend strings on it and stuff. Well, you can if it's set up right, but I don't know. It just feels odd. It feels like when you're bending a string, it feels more like you are pushing it uphill, if you know what I mean. So that aside. Once you get to like the modern fender radius of 9.5 inch, I'm hard pressed to notice any difference between 9.5 inch all the way up to like Gibson sort of radius of 12 inch, and anything like it. It's just not something that really registers with me. But I think, as I say, the reason why the PRS was just a little bit not as nice was because I'm having to adapt the way I play, and it just wasn't fitting so much. And it was a bloody gorgeous guitar. It really was. I know the new owner is in two minds about it, but it's. But I really loved it, and I'd love another PRS at some point. But I'm not going to buy before I try, if you know what I mean. First one down the hatch. By the way, everyone, Cronenberg 1664 tonight. I know that there is a certain chap who is often in the chat. I don't think I've seen him tonight. Mr. Toonan, Edwin, my twin, as we often say, because we're both bald. We've both got like at least one too many chins, and we both like a beer. That may be related to the second point on the list. Oh, there we go. Yes, Flake. Edwin is a big. He should be a brand ambassador really for Heineken, and unfortunately, all the Heineken was once again sold out in Morrison's this week. So Cronenberg, one slab for £13. 2 slabs for 17, or 3 slabs for 23. So, well, it's rude not to, isn't it? Really. So there's several of those in the fridge, and there'll be slightly less by the time I call time on this evening, after I've watched a couple of episodes of Auf Wiedersehen, Pet and Porridge and stuff like that, and tottled off to bed, slightly lubricated. Let's have a look. Michael Purcell is saying, I see that John McVie is playing on the new Doobie Brothers album, as is Michael McDonald. I didn't know that. I've seen the Rick Beato video where he's interviewing Michael McDonald. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the thumbnail. It's something I'm going to make time to watch over the weekend. Tell you what, I really enjoyed that Stuart Copeland interview he did. That was just fantastic. Stuart Copeland, definitely fits into the category of people you'd like to go and have a beer with, because he's just a natural raconteur and storyteller, and just generally good bloke by the looks of it. And let's have a look. John Mack saying, I'm neutral about PRS birds. I don't love them or hate them, but I love PRS guitars. If anyone, and I can't find where I put it, but if anyone owns a copy of the fabulous, I think it's Tony Bacon book, the Guitar Handbook, it's like a guitar coffee table kind of book. I don't know where I put my copy of it. It's around somewhere. But if anybody owns a copy of that, there's a picture of a PRS Custom 24 from the mid to late 80s in there. And for me, that, if I ever get to the point where I'm, kind of famous enough, likely, to have a PRS signature guitar, I'm just going to take the page from that book in and say, make one like that. It looks absolutely stunning, but it's tasteful and it's restrained and it's got the moon inlays, and it's just, for me, that kind of mid to late 80s period of PRS guitars is, I think that certainly in terms of looks, because I've never played one from that period, they are the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned. Blue Sofa Song's what you're saying there, mate. Stuart Copeland did a really good doco on drumming. I think it was on a BBC series on musical instruments. I think I remember that, mate. Yes, I think I remember that. And it was like there was a different musician every week talking about, famous musician talking about their own instrument and the history of it. The other thing I remember about Stuart Copeland is there was a series, and I can't remember what it's called, but I think it was on the BBC. Gosh, it's got to be thick end of 20 years ago, where they got celebrities to play a musical instrument. And Bill Oddie, for those outside the UK, Bill Oddie he was in a kind of budget version of Monty Python called The Goodies that was on in the UK in the 70s and 80s. And since then, he's sort of become a nature documentary maker kind of thing. But yeah, he took up playing the guitar and frankly didn't give a very good account of himself, not in terms of his guitar playing, but in terms of just what he was like as a man. Not great. But anyway, Stuart Copeland was at one point teaching Aled Jones. Yes, we're walking in the air, teaching him to play drums. And there was one spectacular piece of footage where Aled Jones is playing drums in a Led Zeppelin tribute band in a kind of sweaty little pub full of kind of bikers. It was fantastic television. Go and dig it out if you can find it. Let's have a look, see what else. Budget Pedal chap is saying, it'd be great if a British company did the bird inlay thing, a pigeon, a seagull, a crow, etc. Yeah, I suspect that the moment you start making any kind of guitar with bird inlays, you might just get a letter from Paul Reed Smith's legal department, a cease and desist, kind of, this is our thing, crawl back under your rock, son. Kind of thing. I think they are very, very protective of those kind of things, and why wouldn't they be? The ones that I used to like, Patrick Eggle guitars. I played one last year. I had one in for review, and it had Kent Armstrong pickups in it, which were a bit of a letdown, to be honest with you. It was a beautifully made guitar. You couldn't fault the build quality, apart from the weird trem that it had on, but that was a lot, which is why a lot of people replaced those trims. But some of the Patrick Eggle guitars used to have like a falling leaf inlay, which for some reason it's no less ornate than the PRS birds, but I don't have a problem with that for some reason. It's weird how your tastes work, isn't it? It's weird how you can find one thing aesthetically challenging and another thing rather kind of beautiful. What we're saying there. Pablo Hank is saying, I remember E.G. the Bill Oddie guitar attempt. He came across as a complete dick. That is what I was trying to say a little bit. You took the words out of my mouth, Pablo Hank. He did come across exactly that way, but I was trying to be diplomatic, But thank you for voicing my for voicing my words there. Thank you so much. Pablo Hank, Patrick Eggle Guitars and Patrick James Eggle himself were both at the guitar show. Awkward. Yeah, back in the 90s, when I was doing this job, because I've been doing it a long time, not this job, what I'm doing now, because I've convinced the missus every Friday when I come to be with a sack full of beer to sit in front of a webcam and talk to you lot the time. I say, I'm just going to work, darling. And she just gives me that look, that look that wives have. But when I was doing like this job of teaching guitar, I had a student briefly for a while. He was working up here, but he lived kind of down south somewhere, and he came to me for a few lessons. And he knew Patrick James Eggle, Patrick Eggle himself, and apparently, yes, he. The story I heard, whether this is true or not, I'm just kind of putting the kind of legal disclaimers in here. The story I heard back in the 1990s was that Patrick was the victim of a boardroom coup. I don't know if that is true or not. That is what I was told by somebody who claimed to know the chap himself. Apparently it was they were doing this collaboration with Levinson Blade for a while, Patrick Eggle guitars, and and having guitars built offshore and making them like a more affordable range. And he wanted to go more and more boutique, and that is what I'm told. I'm talking about a memory from best part of 30 years ago. Or even, best part of 30 years ago. That is what I remember. As I say, this is a hazy memory of a conversation that I had with someone decades ago. So please don't take it as gospel. I may be entirely wrong, but that, but yeah, it would have been a little bit awkward, I suppose. So. Craig Stamen saying, even John, hello, all really enjoyed your vid yesterday with Agrajag. James, the master Luthier, does all the work on my guitars. Yeah, I got to tell you, that James did all the footage of that and edited it all together, and, he did offer me the raw footage, but there was like hours and hours and hours of it, and the fact that he'd already got an edited highlights version, that saved me a lot of work. But just seeing that video there, the video that he did of the work being done, it's really made me kind of think again about maybe doing a refret myself. When you look at the work that went in. And did you notice, by the way, you get a lot of guitar shops and guitar luthiers that say, like, okay, we'll do a refret for you, and they put the frets in and say, there you go. Did you notice that James actually, once the new frets were in, he did a full level and crown on the new frets, dressed the fret shoulders and everything. He did a proper job of it, and I can only assume that the service that I got was the service that any other paying customer would get. So, as Phil McKnight says, if you don't get that level of service, then use my video as a kind of example, say, well, you did it for him, why didn't you do it for me? And if you're going to another luthier and you're saying, well, there's this guy up in Middlesbrough who does do, go above and beyond, why aren't you? Then, I think that's a valid point to make. But yeah, I agree. Fantastic video, and James is just the nicest guy. He, as I said in the video yesterday, he's not happy until you're happy. Let's have a look. David Evans, what you saying there, mate? My older cousin has a Blue Explorer made by JD Guitars, serial number 0001 in 1976 with bird inlays. That's interesting. That's interesting, yes. That predates any of Paul Reed Smith stuff by about a decade, doesn't it? Yeah, I saw the KDH video. I was watching that earlier as I was waiting for my taxi to go to the hospital to get this all fixed. So yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm liking his content more and more. He did sort of just get bracketed as a bit of a troublemaker early on, didn't he? Because he got that he did that sort of. Well, some people said it was controversial. I never saw the video, so I can't comment on it. But I know there was a big stink over a video he made about Rob Chapman, which by the time I'd heard that video was a thing, it had been taken down. So I think probably unfairly, he got a bit of a reputation as being someone who was, had a big wooden spoon and was kind of fond of stirring things a little bit. But the videos I've seen with them, they always seem to be very well put together, very well thought through, and very, eloquently argued. So, I'm starting to watch more and more of his content, because I don't think I've seen a video of his where I've thought, that doesn't really ring true. So, yeah, there you go. So that's why I watched his Birmingham Guitar Show video. I've been watching a few of those. I saw Johnny, Budget Guitar Johnny's video, part one of it. I haven't seen part two yet. I don't think it's dropped yet. And there's one with, what's his name, that crazy Geordie guy, Dagan. Was it Dagan or Dagan? I think I've seen him on a thumbnail from there. I like him. He's again, bloke you'd want to go for a beer with. You get the feeling that he's got a few stories he could tell, and I think Mr. Cassidy is doing a Birmingham Guitar Show video tonight. I was thinking about maybe going myself, but I just couldn't make it work. You can probably appreciate my bread and butter business is doing guitar lessons, and when are people not at work and want guitar lessons? Well, it tends to be a weekend. Tomorrow, I will be in here doing guitar lessons from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. All day tomorrow, and from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. on Sunday. And that's just a big lump of money to write off for a week's worth, for in 1 week. Especially, as I said, as I mentioned a couple of times now, I just had a rather eye-watering bill from the taxman, which I've paid, but it's I'm still kind of a little bit bruised from that. Let's have a look. Oh, Triple Distiller saying Dagan is a fun guy. Dagan is like he's almost like a caricature of an 80s kind of rock guitarist, isn't he? But he's so likable, and he's got some massive skills on the guitar. I'd love to have a beer and a jam with him. Dagan, if you're watching, which you're probably not, but if you're watching, let's get together and have a jam sometime. Let's have a look, see what else we got to talk about. Oh, Pablo Hank is saying, I enjoyed KDH's expose of Victory Amp's ownership. Andersons now have to say they have a part ownership whenever they publicise them. Yeah, I saw that. It's that was there's no other word for it, really. That was a good bit of journalism. And I've got to tell you, I think Lee Anderson responded to it really, really well. He took the criticism on the chin and, was very, very gracious about about getting it, about doing it, about you kind of coming clean and saying, what was going on with that. Has anyone ever played through a Victory amp? Are they any good? Because they certainly sound good on those Andertons videos, don't they? Anybody got any experience of playing through one? Let's have a look and see what we've got. William Forrest saying KDH is fair and he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Sean House is saying, I think you should have gone down to Brum now, John, for the guitar show. No, not well. I would have liked to have gone, but it was just it wasn't possible given my work schedule. And there are some times in life when you've got to make a choice, and that was the choice I had to make. If it had been a little bit later in the year, perhaps when I wasn't scrabbling to refill the bank account after after the tax man, then I could have made it work. But it's just life isn't a life is so much better if you don't kind of spend your time regretting stuff. That's just the way you've got to live. You just think, well, I made the choice, and that's and you make your bed and you lie in it. Basically, you don't kind of sit around moping about, oh, if only, It's so I didn't go because I wasn't able to go. Maybe it'll be maybe it'll happen next time. We'll see. But I'm just one of those things, isn't it? Blue Sofa Songs is saying, are you going to have Jake Burns on your show after the Stiff Little Fingers tour? I don't know Jake Burns, mate, so probably not. I used to give lessons to Henry Clooney from Stiff Little Fingers, and and his touring schedule kind of got in the way of the lessons a little bit. And, so he had to sort of say, well, I'll be in touch. So, Henry, if you're interested in coming on the channel and having a natter, then, give us a shout, or maybe I'll give you a shout and see what you're up to at the moment. Oh, Johnny Random, have you been? You've been and come back. Nice to see you, mate. Let's have a look, see who else has been talking about. Budget Pedal Chap saying, I played a Victory this weekend through with a replica 50s Les Paul and a very traditional fuzz face. The whole setup sounded glorious, but I think it weren't just the Victory doing the hard work there. Yeah, it's like, I mean, the only ingredient I would possibly leave out from that is the fuzz face. I'm not a fan of fuzz. As an effect, it's not my cup of tea. I understand that why some people like it. Well, I don't really, but I understand that some people do like it. But it's just not for me. No, give me, before the new Ex-Horseman came along, give me one of these any day, or something like this, an overdrive pedal in this shade of green. You know the type I mean. That's much more my kind of thing. But I guess in the early 70s, before those pedals, before Tube Screamers were a thing, and you wanted to overdrive a clean amp, what choices did you have? There weren't that many. So fuzz was the way, I guess. Rent-A-Kills, how's the beautiful Dougal this week? Oh, he's fine. He had to get left on his own for a couple of hours today, which isn't something we often do. But Jackie was on the market, and Friday was the only day I could get to the hospital. not the only day I could get to the hospital, but it was the only appointment that they had. So he had to get left on his own a little bit. But we've got a Wi-Fi camera in the living room, so I could keep an eye on him while I was sat in the waiting room. He is quiet tonight. He's less vocal these days than, well, he still has a bit of a kick off every now and again, but he's less vocal less often these days, or less. He's less vocal as often, shall we say? It's excuse me. Let's see if I can get a nice flaky head on this one. Where are we? Get ready, everyone. I can sense everyone in the chat has their fingers poised over the F, L, A, K, and E keys. Let's see if I can kind of get one worthy. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not a bad. Yeah, I'd settle for that. On Road Again is saying, "Hi John, do you get through those 3 boxes of beer on offer from Morrison's every week? That's quite some lubricant." I'm afraid to say I do. And sometimes, because I go shopping on a Wednesday, usually Wednesday morning, and once there's beer in the house, it's like, is that going to last? So quite often there's a little raiding party on the beer on a Wednesday evening. And then, Thursday, it's almost the weekend on a Thursday, isn't it? You you're not going to deny me a beer now. And then Friday, dive in with both feet. Saturday and Sunday, there's a I do a virtual pub night with a few mates, or a couple of mates, often on a Sunday on Zoom. So there's quite a few get sunk then. And so, yeah, if I had any sense of shame, which I don't, I would be ashamed to tell you that sometimes when it gets to Sunday afternoon, I have to nip up to the corner shop to just replenish with, another couple of 4-packs. Sometimes, most times, every week. So yes, I do get through they're only 10 can slabs, by the way. It's not like I'm going through 3 lots of 24. It's they're only kind of baby slabs of beer. Let's have a look, see who else has been. Fuzz or distortion, the questions. I thought you were going to say Dougal ate the camera. No, it's beyond his reach. Did we find out what our new collective name is yet? Thank you, Steve. You reminded me. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let me just head on over to... no, I don't want to go there. I've never shared my screen on here. I don't think I've ever shared my screen on StreamYard, but we'll give it a go, and we'll see what the winner is. View your channel and community, and right, let's see if I can share the screen here. Here we go. There we go. Share the entire screen, and there we go. And here we can see that Gurgle Twangers, hopefully you can see this, Gurgle Twangers had 18% of the vote. Fabulous Fret Fumblers came in at 26%. The Rockin' Beeries at 16%. Poo Zoomies at 5%. I always thought that was, an outsider. But as you can see here, 36% of people who voted for the Fatocasters. So I'm going to say that is now the name that we're going to adopt. I will, this week sometime, make a new live stream thumbnail incorporating that word. Congratulations, everyone. You are now officially part of the Fatocasters. Well, I certainly it's a name that suits me. I'm just a fat lad who likes too many pies and ale. But there you go. Well, that fits. Needs a T-shirt. What a brilliant idea, Peter Nicholson. Was that Peter Nicholson or no? Calby and the Rocco Cat. It needs a T-shirt. There's my phone pinging. What's that all about? The joys of live streaming. Forget to put my phone on silent. Oh, yes, this is the Blue Explorer with the birds. Let me see if I can. That's been pinged to me by text. Can I? I wish I knew how to use technology. Let's have a look at that and download. I think that's that, right? Okay, so let's see if I can email that to myself. Oh, you've already emailed it to me, Dave. So there we go. Right, so I can now go into my email and grab that picture and show you this 1976 guitar, which has bird inlays, which is quite some time before Paul Reed Smith had bird inlays. So this is a guitar made by, I think, JD Guitars. Let's once again share the screen, share screen, and we'll go for entire screen. There we go. And hopefully you're seeing that. That is a guitar made by JD Guitars in 1976. And as you can see, bird inlays on the neck. Not the same design as PRS bird inlays, but still quite similar. You could take one of those inlays there and, it would look in isolation very much like one of the PRS inlays. Thank you so much, mate. Nice looking guitar, isn't it? I've got an Explorer review coming up on the channel in the next few weeks. And that's an interesting video. So there you go. That is a guitar. Yeah, nice guitar. Calby and the Rocco Cat is saying, cool wave sharing guitar picks could be a live stream feature. Yeah, if you want to do that, chaps, if you want to email your guitar picks to me, then we can do that. We can find a way around. The only thing I do, as you know, often miss stuff that's going on in the chat, and I'll have to just kind of keep an eye on my email. James Hunt, what are you saying, mate? I have a Sire S7 and broke a string. After changing strings, I noticed that the bridge stud base is not flush with the body, probably 2 millimeter higher. I take it this is not right. Let me read that again. The stud on the bass side is not flush with the body, probably 2 millimeter higher. I guess this is not right. It doesn't sound like it should be that way, mate, without seeing it, but from your description, that doesn't sound like it should be that way. I would get that looked at, mate. Jay Aoyong is saying, what brand was it again? JD, which I believe was John Diggins, wasn't it? The Midlands luthier who also made guitars for Tony Iommi, and didn't he make an Angus Young SG as well? Can we get a Fatocasters t-shirt? Unless I forget, yes we can, so I'm writing it down now. Fatocasters t-shirt. I haven't paid any attention at all for ages to the Teespring store. It's just called Spring now, isn't it? So I will have to get that done. The only problem with Teespring and these companies is that, you know, for me to receive, you know, even a fiver or £5 or £6 from a t-shirt sale, they have to be priced so ridiculously high. So I might look around for an alternative supplier, but they were the only game in town when I first set up a merch store. Will the Fatacaster t-shirts only come in XXL? Well, no, I think these companies always offer like a range of sizes. Michael Purcell saying John Diggins died a few months ago. I think I'd heard that, mate. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Rest in peace, Mr. Diggins. You were a fantastic luthier, as was the local guy up here, actually, Jim Cairns, who died, gosh, it's got to be 15 years ago now. But, you know, he made guitars for Chris Rea, for the Eagles, I think, someone from the Eagles, I can't remember who, possibly Don Felder had a Jim Cairns guitar. He was a really, really great luthier. If all guitars but Explorers and V's were banned, it would be Explorers for you then, John. Yes. I've got a mate who's watching this now, but seldom joins in on the chat, and he's a big Flying V fan, and you know, mainly because KK Downing played one, and you know, he's a big Priest fan, and you know, but yeah, Flying V's, when you spend most of your time playing sitting down, a Flying V is not the most practical of instruments, but I do like I like that Explorer that I've just reviewed, and you know, so it would be an Explorer for me. Steve Entwistle saying, given your penchant for tellies, John, there's a missed opportunity for us to have the fat tellies. Yeah, it's that doesn't trip off the tongue quite as easily, though, does it? You know, that could read as fatalays or something like that. You know, KK ripped off Michael Schenker's look. I think it was both probably they both had the same look around at the same time, didn't they? Really. You have to put the V over your leg. Yeah, I've seen that, but I've tried that with V's in the past, and it's never been particularly a comfortable way of playing for me. Femme fatalies, yes. Good one, mate. Fate les. Fatalies with cheese and chips. Can't balance an Explorer on the ground, says Michael Purcell. No, but I never put a guitar on the ground anyway. I learned that the hard way many years ago. Always buy a guitar stand. So let's just have one last little look up the chat, see what's going on. On road again is saying, John, did you ever get to try Nigel Crinzen's guitars? He's in your neck of the woods, or was? No, that's not a name I know, to be honest with you. That's a new one on me, but we shall see if there's got to be a few around, hasn't there? Anyway, on that note, chaps, I'm getting hungry, and there's a curry downstairs with my name on it. So I'm going to wrap things up there. Thank you once again. Don't forget, Steve Cassidy, straight after you've finished with me, go and check his video out from the Birmingham Guitar Show. And don't forget Johnny's video, usually on a Sunday, isn't it? His live stream from Budget Guitar Show. But that is it from me tonight. Thank you once again for turning up and watching a fat, bald fella talk absolute nonsense for an hour. It's been a blast. And as I always say, I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.